All right, guys, if you've never had smoked cornbread, then you are missing out. This is an absolute treat of a dish, and it is simple as let's get to cooking. Righto, for this cornbread recipe, we're going to need some white sugar, some polenta, baking soda, plain flour, creamed corn, eggs, and some maple syrup or honey. You could use both or one or the other. Also, we're going to be using a cast iron skillet to cook our cornbread today on our Weber kettle. And I will say you also need about 130 grams of salted or unsalted butter. It doesn't matter. I just haven't got that out of the fridge yet. So let's get our ingredients into a bowl and mix together. All right, starting off with our eggs, we're going to crack 2 eggs into a bowl here. And we're going to give those a light whisk. And then they are ready to go into our bowl. Now for our can of creamed corn. The recipe I found online said 1 can, so I'm guessing this is the size can they were talking about. I have no idea. I tried this the other day, and this is a 420 gram can. Seemed to work pretty good, so I'm not going to question it. We're going to take our eggs we whisked earlier and chuck them in as well. Now, another ingredient that I forgot to mention is you're going to want some milk, 3/4 of a cup's worth. Dump it in like so. And we also want a 1/2 cup of melted butter. Beautiful. All right, that is our wet ingredients. Let's get our dry ingredients in and get this mixed together. All right, for our dry ingredients, we're going 3/4 of a cup of our cornmeal, or should I say polenta, same thing. Now we're going to use about 3/4 of a cup worth of our white sugar. The recipe that I found called for 1/2 cup, but I found, for me personally, and everyone's going to be different, for me personally, it could have been a little sweeter. So that's why we're going 3/4 of a cup instead of that 1/2 cup as well. Right, plain flour, we're going 1.5 cups worth. Like so. Beautiful. And for our last ingredient, well, sort of our last ingredient, we're going 1 tablespoon of baking soda. So you give it all a stir, get all those ingredients mixed together well, and I'll show you in a minute what kind of consistency you're actually looking for. So you want to keep stirring until you've got a consistency of about that. Don't worry if you think it's a little runny. That's what I thought at the start as well. But this stuff bakes into a nice, beautiful loaf. Right, I forgot one last ingredient before we go into our pan. We're going to take our maple syrup here. You can be pretty generous with this. It's about, I don't know, 1/2 cup maybe. Give that a nice stir. Now, if you don't want to use maple syrup, you can use honey. Supplement it for whatever you want. I like maple syrup. I'm a sucker for it. Also love honey too. This would work well with the hot chili honey as well. Righto, we're just going to give our cast iron pan a bit of a quick spray with some canola oil. Now we're just going to pour our cornbread mixture in, making sure to get it all. Now over to our kettle. We're using 3/4 of a chimney's worth of heat beads, and we are going to get our Weber up to around the 180 to 200 degree mark. We're going to chuck our skillet down there with our mixture on, and we're going to put it to bed, and we're going to let it ride. Right, after about 25 minutes, we're going to have a check on it, and it is looking nice and golden brown. Way to check if it's done. Take a bit of a skewer, poke it down, and if there's nothing on the skewer, we're ready to take it off. Now, I let this rest for about half an hour and it was still piping hot because we got it in that cast iron pan. So you can take it out immediately and rest it outside, or just let it rest for, an hour, hour and a half until it's ready to cut into. I couldn't wait because I'm absolutely frothing this cornbread. There we have it. A simple recipe for smoked cornbread. You can make this recipe your own. It is best served hot with some butter and maple syrup. I didn't have any butter. I'll use the rest of it in that recipe. There's some maple syrup on top. This is an absolute treat. Probably the tastiest yet easiest cook I've done this year, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.